Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone. So happy to have everybody on Facebook Live today and on YouTube, my YouTube channel as well. Looking forward to having an amazing conversation this morning about is retirement possible? Of course, I love and enjoy the conversation and talking about financial literacy. So I look forward to diving into that situation. I'm looking at my Facebook Live. It looks like it's still trying to load. So hopefully it connects and everything is going well there. If not, I may have to use my phone. Let's see. Okay, so I may have to use my phone for Facebook Live. So if you're on YouTube, stand by for a few seconds and I will connect on Facebook as well. All right, let's see if we can get this ball rolling. Okay, so I should be live on Facebook now as well. There we go. So once again, I want to welcome everybody to Coach Steele's finance training, where you can jump in on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, or you can jump in on Facebook as well. You'll see it under my name, Simon Steele. Look forward to talking to everyone today about financial literacy and is retirement possible? That's what we want to talk about today. Is retirement possible? And hopefully someone in my house is watching as well, because I do have my handy dandy uh, uh, whatever type of ice this is called, crushed ice, but I did leave my drink in the dining room. So if anybody in my house is listening, feel free to please bring me my drink so that I can mix it inside my ice as well. So we'll see if anybody's listening. So anyway, I'm excited about talking to everyone about financial literacy this morning. And this subject is very important, no matter what your age is. If you are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, talking about is retirement possible? It's an important subject that we have to talk about, that we really need to address for a multiple number of reasons. And I'll dive into a lot of those as we get into this. But if you're a young person, you really need to start understanding what it takes to actually retire, what it requires for you to be able to retire at a reasonable age. And when we talk about retirement, it's not just simply, okay, I retire, so I'm not working, I'm not doing anything. It's what type of job you may want to work later on, what type of charities you may want to do, what you may want to volunteer, travel, you name it. So retirement isn't just like a blanket statement when we talk about is it possible to retire? I don't want you to limit what retirement is and put it in a box, because everyone doesn't fit in that box. But I think it's important to talk about retirement and is it possible and what it takes to be able to retire, because there are many people, there's a problem in America, a serious problem in America, where many people are not prepared to retire. Many people did not make the necessary sacrifices that it takes to be able to retire comfortably at a reasonable age. Understand what I'm saying. It's almost like a pandemic in America where people are not prepared to retire comfortably in America. Where past certain ages that are uncomfortable, people are required to try and do something, anything, to be able to bring in cash flow, because when they were younger, whether certain things happened, whether certain things were going on, or where people were being underpaid, where opportunities did not present themselves, many people have not been able to retire in America. We even find many soldiers, whether they did 20 years, 25 years in the military, once they exit the military, they still have to position themselves to find a great job, because a military pension or retirement check is simply not enough to be able to go off and do whatever you want to do. So there's a lot more things that are involved in preparing for retirement that many of us must do. And we're going to dive a lot into that. But of course, I am Simon Steele, and I do have a Facebook Live that I go on and my YouTube Live. And shout out to Ron Doc. What's going on? And I'm going to deal with Doc, I'm going to deal with a lot of things today: the importance of entrepreneurship, how we have to prepare for retirement, what it takes, and deal with some misconceptions and misunderstandings that people have in America when it comes to retirement. But once again, I'm Simon Steele. Love talking about financial literacy. Feel free to jump on YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Coach Steele's Finance Training. We're building something there. We're starting a movement. I'm excited about what we're starting and where we're going. So there's nothing wrong with jumping on this train and riding it. And I would say till the wheels fall off, but trains don't necessarily, they're on tracks. So listen, we're going somewhere, and I want you all to go with me. We're starting a movement, and we're going to change some things. And women, if you are listening today, I need you to really lock in and stay tuned in, women, because I definitely have a message for you all today, and the importance of retirement is, and if it's possible, and what retirement looks like for women in America. So if you have a mother, a sister, an aunt, a girlfriend, a wife, you name it, you need to share this with them. You need to tag them in this, make sure they get this information, whether they watch this now or later. They need to be tuned into this, because I want to open the eyes of women in America, what the statistics say about them in retirement. And a couple of those retirement options, Doc put 401ks, mutual funds, ETFs. I like ETFs, investments, etc. We're going to get into all of that. And so when we dive into that stuff, we're going to figure out what was the purpose of each one of them. Like, what was the purpose of the 401k? Who invented the 401k? What did the 401k start as? And what is it now? And so those are some good things that you can look up and start researching and finding, because we're going to dive into that later on. So feel free to stay connected with me through the YouTube channel or on Facebook, Coach Steele's Finance Training. And as I post videos on YouTube, if you are following it, if you are a subscriber, every time videos go up or every time I go live, you'll get a heads up as well. And also, I want to just, before I dive deeper into talking about retirement and planning for retirement, especially to my young people, because now is the best time for them to start preparing, I want to congratulate everybody on the team. When we talk about Coach Steele's Finance Training, when we talk about the Facebook people that are listening, I want to congratulate everyone who has been supporting, listening, gleaning, and following and learning, because I hit 200 subscribers on Facebook a couple of days ago. And so it was pretty exciting. And of course, I couldn't have got there without all of you, because otherwise I would just have one subscriber, which is me. So I don't get to 200 without all 200 of you, plus people who are tuning in and listening in and sharing this information. So we're going places together. And tell the people what made you get into this. You know what? That's a good question. What made me get into this? Pretty simple. I grew up struggling. I grew up not having. And so, long story short, like many of us who grew up below the average, my mom raised 7 kids, and raising 7 kids, We didn't have much. And not only did we not have much, but you understand what hand-me-downs are. You understand what preparing those big meals that stretch for a couple of days, all that good stuff, no name shoes, no name clothes, all of that, because that's all we can afford. I could name 50 million other struggles, but yeah, I grew up without having. And so my mission and my goal is to show people who came up in the same manner in which I did that there's another way. There's an opportunity to be able to have, there's an opportunity to be able to live comfortably and be able to maintain yourself. And so I'm a strong proponent on learning how to manage your money, learning how to budget, not just to budget to survive, but budget to create other opportunities for yourself, whether it's going to business, whether it's real estate, whether it's investing, you name it. And so those are some of my things that I truly care about and I'm passionate about, with helping people get to the next place. Because sometimes households are struggling, certain cultures and environments, people are struggling and going without, and they don't have to. Sometimes we struggle simply because there's a lack of knowledge and there's a lack of education that we have, which prevents us from going to the next level. And what I'm going to do is be part of that movement that helps us get to the next level, that helps you get to the next level. But it doesn't happen unless you're willing to do the work. I don't believe in get rich quick schemes. I believe in let's figure out what we need to do the work, get our hands dirty, and get busy doing something to improve our situations, because you have eyes on you. You have people that are watching you, nieces, nephews, and everyone else. You have eyes on you that they're looking, and you're going to set the example and the standard. I like that word right there. You're going to set the standard of what it is and what things are. Same thing when households have people who aren't graduating high school. Then all of a sudden you have one or two that graduate. Now the standard is high school is a norm. Then we take it to the next level, whether it's college or whatever the case may be. So as we talk about retirement, is retirement possible in America? Is retirement possible? There are a lot of things that we have to look at. And women, like I said before, I need all women. And the men, you can tune in as well. We have a problem as well. But if you're a woman, I need you to share this with other women that you know of. And the women and the females, ladies, what I'm going to talk about and some of the things I'm going to hit on today, you're going to know that what I'm saying is very factual and so true. And so when we look at this situation, and we talk about retirement in America, all the research that I've done, everything that I look at, it says that when it comes to retirement and being prepared for retirement in America, the least people that are prepared are women. Women are least likely to be prepared for retirement. Now, the numbers are bad for men as well. It's 50-50 for men, but the numbers are bad for men as well. But for women, it is the worst. And one thing I want to ask the group, one thing I want to ask people, and feel free to comment, but why do you think it is bad? Why do you think it is bad? Why are women so not prepared for retirement in America? What is going on to where there's a retirement issue for women in America? I see Anitra put, we need to improve our situations and economy. 78% of America is living paycheck to paycheck. Now that tells you a lot right there. That tells you a lot right there. When we talk about why women are more than likely least prepared in America, the stats say that they're least prepared for retirement. Cheryl put stay home moms. Now that's interesting as well. That is interesting as well. So if my wife or my sister is listening, I left my drink. Y'all saw when I made my drink earlier today, this morning to prepare the drink. I left it out there in the dining room somewhere. So if one of you can bring that to my office, I appreciate it. I don't want to leave the live. So I don't want to get up and get it. But anyway, So if either one of you are listening in, please bring my drink in here. And another statistic that somebody looked up. Yay! I got my drink, y'all. See, women are so valuable in America. I needed my drink, y'all. I have my Crystal Light, made my mix. Thank you, shout out. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have some fun today. I'm gonna have some fun because we're gonna raise awareness of what's going on. So Cheryl brought up a good point. I like Cheryl's point. Who stay at home's mom, and y'all are bringing so many good points. I have to calm down and relax. Let me deal with Anitra's point first. 78% of America is living paycheck to paycheck. Think about it. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, and like Doc mentioned, you have 401ks, ETFs, investments, and things that you can make. Well, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, if there is more month than money for you, then how can you find 15% of your income? How can you find $2 in there to put inside this investment, to put inside this 401k, to put inside this retirement plan if you are paycheck to paycheck? 78% of us. And there's only 100%. So that leaves 22%. There's 22% of people in America. And so now you get to go look at the statistics of who that 22% is. Who are the 22% that are not living paycheck to paycheck, that have enough to prepare for retirement? So now it gets interesting because when I say that there is a pandemic, there's an epidemic or whatever you want to call it in America with people being prepared for retirement, you see that it's potential that there's about 22% of people that can actually prepare for retirement effectively. It's not that they necessarily put the right amount up, but at least they have something left over at the end of the month to prepare them for retirement. So the stats don't lie, and the stats are telling us that there is a problem. Now, Cheryl talked about stay-at-home moms. That's one reason why we're talking about women, and we're going to deal with men as well, everyone as a whole. But when we talk about women in America and being prepared for retirement, in our culture and society in America years ago, the generation before me, it was normal. It was a norm to see the father go have a job, make money. The woman stays at home, raise the children. There is a big value in the fact that a woman is staying home and helping raise the children. We can all agree that when the woman is at home or there's a spouse at home to help raise the child, give them good morals, good principles, to help them with their schoolwork, their assignments, you raise them up in the way that they should go. And if everyone is constantly working 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5, it's hard. It's a little more difficult to raise them up in the way that they should go. But when you have a woman there at the house, or you have a spouse there at the house that can help raise that child, nurture them, give them the things that they need, it is so invaluable. It's an amazing thing to have that. And what happened in America, and I did a video on inflation, when the cost of living began to get so big, when the cost of living became complicated, you could no longer easily just have two people in the household anymore. You could no longer be comfortable with one income, but it took two incomes for the average household to have success financially. You needed all hands on the plow. And so now we do still have some women that stay at home and take care of the children. We do have some women that are at home. And what's interesting about it is if you are at home and you don't have a 9 to 5 job, then how do you have, you can't necessarily contribute to a 401k plan. This gets interesting for a woman. So Cheryl's point is if a woman stays at home, how can she effectively prepare for retirement? How can she effectively prepare for retirement? Well, here are some options. There are things called Roth IRAs, individual retirement accounts. So even though she stays at home, she could set up an IRA, but then how does she contribute? That is going to require whoever is making income in the house to help fund that retirement plan. I remember when I was in the military and I was working and I set up an IRA And then my wife ended up working later because she was going to school. But once she started working and started making a little income, uh, well, that little became a lot for us because we had two incomes. I set up an IRA account for her as well so that she would have some retirement plan as well. I didn't want a retirement plan and she not have one. So I started putting a little money in an IRA and set up hers as well. So men, you can always set up a retirement account or have your wife set it up and you help funnel money in there as well because there's a disparity. There's something going on in America and we need to step up as men, and women have to step up for themselves as well and put themselves in position to be able to retire comfortably because we don't want them dependent on the Social Security check, however much that is going to be. But it won't be enough to cover the expenses. So women, the other thing, someone else mentioned something. Doc mentioned over 1 in 4 people have no emergency savings, which also proves my point in my argument that if you don't have an emergency fund or savings, then that means you probably you barely have enough to put away for retirement as well. And so we must understand that there's a problem in our culture, our community, our circle of people. We can have expensive items on, but all of that is temporary. All of that is in the moment. You have to start preparing to pay yourself later. You have to start preparing to pay your future self. And you need to set up the right financial vehicles. Yep. You need to set up the correct financial vehicles using the right financial tools to prepare yourself for where you're going and where you plan on being 15, 20, 30 years from now. You need to learn what it takes and how much you need to have set up for retirement years from now. How much do you need to have in your retirement account 15, 20 years from now for you to be able to live off of, for you to be able to maintain yourself? And so women, like I said, I want you to wake up. I want you to share. I want you to send this to other people that you know that need to hear this as well, because I am tired of our women not having enough to be able to maintain themselves and not be able to retire comfortably and to be struggling. And another thing about a stay-at-home mother, Cheryl, that I think about is if a woman is a stay-at-home mother and then all of a sudden something happens, the spouse passes away or there's a divorce that happens, this woman has dedicated herself, her 9 to 5, to maintaining the household. And if this other person, the spouse, disconnects willingly or unwillingly, that person, the woman now, of course, staying at home in the example that you gave, she is not prepared to be able to maintain the household because she herself does not either have cash flow, or if that man also wasn't able to set himself up for success as far as retirement or insurance, whatever it is. Now we have this woman struggling by herself, struggling to maintain herself. So there are a lot of variables that come into play why women are not prepared for retirement. I'll give some more examples, and I'll hit this quickly and I'll move. When we talk about women not being prepared for retirement, there are levels to it. When you do the research, it talks about Caucasian, African, it talks about other minorities. It goes deeper. And what you end up finding out when you do research is minority women are least prepared for retirement out of all women. Minority women are least prepared for retirement out of all women. So that should raise a red flag. That should cause you to wake up. If you're a minority woman, you need to wake up and say, what steps do I need to take next? What do I need to do right now so that I am not one of those statistics? Because the stats say that a minority woman out of everyone is least prepared for retirement. So now when we think about that minority women are least prepared, it's a pause for cause, and we need to realize that there's action that we have to take. That this isn't just sound. This isn't just noise. We need to call attention to this problem, and I'm going to continue to deal with it for months and for years till we see a change. I want to see those stats move and those stats change. And so we have to figure out, is retirement possible, and how to prepare ourselves for retirement, and how do you do the math on preparing for retirement? What does it take? What does it look like? What does that retirement number look like for you? What do the financial gurus say that number is? And then realistically, what are you capable of? And how can we creatively get there in a way that is outside of the box from what they normally say? And that's what I like to deal with, outside of the box ideas and being creative. Mr. Doc says, if you have a 401k, do the max that your company matches, more if you can stand it. And so he's talking about how when you work for a company and they have a retirement plan or opportunity for you to invest in, whether it's 401k, TSPs, they have different names, 457, 453s, whatever the numbers are, in regards to your job. And so if they have a retirement opportunity for you to put your money in, your company will match sometimes. Your company will match, whether it's 3%, whatever that number is. Get with your company, HR, whoever you need to find out, and find out how much they'll match, because it's basically free money. And that's what Ron Doc is talking to y'all about. He's talking about getting that free money that your company will match. That way you can build up your retirement portfolio, your 401k, even faster as it sits in that market. And I can't wait to deal with some of the things with the 401k, the man who created the 401k, what he has to say about it as well. And if anybody's watching, Google inventor or creator of 401k and just drop his name in the comment section. Just drop his name in the comment section, the man who invented or came up with the 401k. All right, so where are we at? We dealt with the fact that this is important for women to pay attention, and this is not to be taken lightly. Now, what we want to do is understand it's important, because not only is there a problem for women with retirement, but there's a problem that men are not prepared for retirement as well. Y'all got it right. Mr. Ted, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Benna, but TB, Ted Benna, you know our people, we're going to give you a nickname real quick. He came up and invented this thing about retirement. Now, there's a little history about him, and I won't dive too deep into it. I don't have it memorized, but I do know a little bit about what he came up with, why he did, his intentions, the goals, and the plans of it. And I really want you all to understand what his intentions was for the 401k, so you are not confused and fooled by what they say the 401k is now and the plans and the goals of the 401k is now as well. So when you deal with your retirement plan at your job, or whatever that investment is that you put in, the 403b, your TSP, you name it, I want you to understand the original intentions, why it was created, and the benefit it was supposed to bring you. And some of you, I know you may already start looking it up and see what this man said about the 401k and why it was created for us. So anyway, and then what they eventually turned it to. So when you start doing research, you're going to find out that the 401k was created for one thing, but then some wealthy people saw that it would be beneficial to connect it to Wall Street and the stock market. Do the math. Start thinking, why did they say, if all of these people are putting money in retirement plans, if we can then take those funds and then move them and connect them to the stock market, to Wall Street, all of this money that all of these people, and I always get the generations mixed up, baby boomers and all that other stuff, Generation X and all that. But think about all these people working, putting money into the marketplace, and how they're able to take this 401k and connect it. What benefit was it for the government or for Wall Street to make that transition in those 401ks? Good morning, DeMarco. Good morning. Shout out to you and Game Changers. And look forward to connecting with you all on Game Changers as well. And so when we look at retirement and we're talking about this subject, it is important. I really want to stress the importance of talking about preparing for retirement and opening up the eyes for other people to be able to prepare for retirement. So many times in life, I see as people get older, they are not prepared to move on. And so sometimes they work a little bit longer than what they have to, or they work and they're not able to do the things that they enjoy. They're not able to volunteer in the places they want to volunteer. They're not able to give back and travel and do the things they desire to do. Is there anything wrong with working till you're 99? No, there's nothing wrong with it. But there's nothing wrong with being able to set yourself up to be able to work and volunteer and travel and enjoy life and give back and share with others in the way that you want to. Now, as we dive into this, we must understand that once again, majority of people are not prepared for retirement in America, no matter what color you are, no matter what age you are. Most people in America are not prepared for retirement. And you can look up the stats on that. Like I said, it's bad for men as well. But men are more than likely to be prepared for retirement. And so we must understand that there are disparities in pay as well. So that's one thing that a few people didn't mention is there is a disparity in pay and what people make, men versus women. And we know that was a huge problem early on in America, and it has improved. It has improved a little. And that's why I believe entrepreneurship and investing is important, not only for men, but for women as well. Because if there's a disparity in your pay and your income, then having your own job, being an entrepreneur, being creative, finding things to do outside the box of a 9 to 5 is going to benefit you. Why? Because when someone will discriminate or not pay you as much because of your gender or your color, guess what? That money is green. And because your money is green, they don't discriminate against that. So if I invest in the S&P 500, if I invest in an ETF, if I invest in a real estate opportunity and I have it in an LLC, nobody knows the gender or the color of your dollar. And so being creative as an investor and as an entrepreneur, it will open the doors and opportunities to bring that disparity, bring some balance back there. So you must understand there are creative ways to bring in income. Because we could whine, we could complain and talk about the shortcomings of America and the disparity that is happening for certain people. But why waste that energy? We will let the right people be able to do those and speak up for that. But in the meantime, guess what? We put our hand to the plow and we go create another opportunity to get those 40 acres and a mule or whatever it is that you're seeking after, whatever it is you're trying to get. So most people are not prepared for retirement. And those are some things, there are some things that we need to do to help us be better prepared for retirement in life. And so the next thing I want to deal with is, we dealt with the reasons why. And I believe most of the reasons why people are not prepared for retirement, that ain't shameless at all. Because, Doc, I just talked about entrepreneurship and the benefits of entrepreneurship and how the dollar can't be discriminated against when you throw it in the S&P 500 or whether you have products that someone is buying or whether somebody, if you have something set up on Amazon, people aren't looking at the color of the book or the color of whatever it is that you are, the products you have and the services you may provide, whether it's classes, teachers, training, whatever it is. Entrepreneurship is important, but Ron Doc put Slick Lids, and so he is a partner, and I want to almost call it like a clothing brand, but it's more than just hats. It's more than just the Slick Lids, and I'm probably calling it wrong because it's probably not called a hat. And of course, I'm not the best in the world when it comes to dressing and all of that, so I'm sure he can provide a little more detail in the comments of what they do, or actually put his their link. But they have jewelry, they have socks, awesome apparel, different things that you can buy from them, and they're pretty nice. And I've participated. There we go. I knew it was Fedora, but I was scared to say it. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. So y'all check them out and jump on his, whether he leaves the link in the comments or whether you go to his Facebook page. I'm sure he'll have some products there. And that's another thing we have to do. We have to be willing to patronize each other. We have to be willing to figure out what other businesses people have going on and be willing to give, donate, buy products from them. And as you continue to do that, there's a lot of benefits from doing that as well. But anyway, as we continue to talk about, is retirement possible? Yes, through entrepreneurship, having your own business, creating extra income so that you can invest and put money aside for other things is very beneficial for you. Many people struggle to prepare for retirement because we do not budget properly. That is one of the things we can do to prepare. Even if you're being underpaid, even if you're being overwhelmed, you have to be able to budget properly. And for my ladies out there, when I know that most women struggle to prepare for retirement, honestly, a lot of that comes from women, one, having too big of a heart and not being able to say no. Let's deal with it. Women have this motherly instinct. And so when something is going wrong, when something's not right, when someone needs help, their brother, cousin, auntie, kids, they are willing to sacrifice and go it out. They're willing to share. Those instincts, those motherly instincts kick in, and that care, that nurturing, there we go, that nurturing part of it, because I can't just call it motherly, but that nurturing part of them comes out, and they're willing to sacrifice their seeds, sacrifice their dollars, and the money is going so many different places because of that nurturing instinct, that heart, and they do not think about themselves. In certain communities, you must understand that in certain communities, there is a high percentage of certain men in the households that are being incarcerated. Listen to what I'm saying. Many cultures, environment, not many, but in certain cultures and environments, men are being incarcerated. And when they are incarcerated, there are women, because it's not the homeboys, it's not the guys they were hanging with, but the women are taking from their pockets, taking from their income, and they're sending money to help people out who are incarcerated. And I'm not saying whether it's good or bad. What I'm saying is they're so busy trying to help people who are in unfortunate situations that they don't even set up their own retirement. So many women have given away so much of what they have that they have literally handed over their retirement to other people that cannot return the favor when it's needed. So that's why it's important to set up your retirement and put things in place and start preparing. Same thing happens in business. Most businesses and entrepreneurs fold because they don't budget and they don't prepare for the difficult times that are going to come. Businesses have highs and lows. They have ups and downs, and you have to prepare for the downs just like you enjoy the ups. And so you have to be willing to budget. So budgeting is very important. Most people and financial advisors and everything that I say today, look up, do your own research, find out for yourself and learn for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Don't just take my advice. Go do your homework, get with a professional and find out what works best for you and what actions you should take individually with a professional. But most people say 15% of your income should go to retirement. 15% of your income should go to your retirement. Now, how many people can actually take 15% of their income and put it away for retirement? So when we talk about 401k plans, when we talk about TSPs, when we talk about 403bs, all those different retirement options, how many people, and I'm adjusting, if you're on Facebook and you're not on YouTube, I'm just adjusting my phone for a second. So just bear with me. Hopefully I can make this work and figure it out. But how many people can literally take 15% of their income and put it away for retirement? And what I want you to do is start thinking about, what is 15% of your income? What is, and don't, you don't drop it in the chat, you don't tell your business, what is 15% of your income? And when you realize what 15% of your income is, start thinking about how much of that do you actually put away for retirement? How much of that is it realistically possible for you to actually put away to invest in your future self? Now it gets funny there. It gets interesting, because what if it's only 2% that you put away for retirement? You are only investing 2% in your future self. Like Doc just said, that takes discipline. It does take discipline. It takes discipline to put 15% away. It takes mastering your budget, knowing what you have coming in, knowing what you have going out, to be able to put 15% away. Because the average person, if they are living, I can't even say average, Anisha put in the comments earlier that 78% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. If 78% of people are living paycheck to paycheck, then that means there's only 22% of people who have potential, that have potential to be able to put 15% of their income away for retirement. This would cause you to reevaluate your budget. It would cause you to make adjustments on your needs and wants. What is a need? What is a want? It would cause you to make so many adjustments to figure out what is just extra and not necessary. To get myself to a place to where I can now put 15% of my income away. I can now put 15% away and then start adding back some of those wants at that point, if financially they fit in. Now, when I first started off, and what I'm saying is it's not always easy starting off, because what I'm saying, I was not able to always do. Matter of fact, when I first started off, I had 0% going to retirement, not 15. I couldn't even get 1%. And so what I'm telling you all is we are going on a journey. Men, we are going on a journey. Women, we are going on a journey. You don't get there overnight. It takes a process to get there. It's a growth process that you have to go through, and that you can learn how to get there. But you have to stick with it. You have to be willing to learn and take baby steps to get there. One year you may be at 5%. The next year you may get to 7%, but eventually you'll get to that 15 and potentially more. And so it's possible to get to the 20%. So even if you are putting 15% away, you don't have to limit yourself there. That's just a good neutral starting point that they say people should be at. And so that happens through budgeting, that happens through planning. So let's dive into a little more of what financial advisors and the numbers that they say people should have as far as retirement. When it comes to preparing for retirement, and we're talking about, basically age 67. When you hit the age of 67, they say at 67, you should have 10 times your annual income at age 67 put up in your retirement, whether it's a 401k or your IRA, whatever it is. You should have 10 times your annual income. This is where it gets interesting, guys, because this is what I call that inside the box thinking. Inside the box, on average, what they're saying is if you make $50,000 a year, think about it. If you make $50,000 a year by age 67, how much money should you have? Oh, mathematicians, start doing the math. Hit the comment section. At 67, they say you should have 10 times the amount of your annual income. So mathematicians out there, how much money, someone making $50,000 a year, how much should you have in your retirement account? I'm going to sip on my drink. Ooh, this is good. My mathematicians, they say to prepare for retirement, you need to have 10 times your annual salary in a retirement plan by age 67. If you make $50,000 a year, how much should be in that retirement account by age 67? And I know there's probably a little lag. Okay. I see some answers. I see some answers coming in. Okay, I see some answers coming in on YouTube. I see Mr. Reggie Castile. Okay, we got it right. We got it right, Mr. Reggie. There we go. That first number, I like that. On YouTube, Mr. Reggie Castile, he had a quick typo, but first he put 5 million Then he adjusted it to 500,000. But when he put 5 million, I knew what my brother meant. And I'm not going to pick on him too bad because I always give him a hard time. But I think I love him. So I'm going to behave today. But yeah, Mr. Reggie and Ron Doc. No, you're right. You're right. 10 times your annual income. So, Doc, you're right as well. And so basically, they're saying you should have $500,000 by age 67. And this is the part that is very interesting to me. So Nitra put 500,000 as well. I'm happy my sister is in town. Pretty pumped up about that as well. That's who brought my drink so that I could put it in my crushed ice in my cup. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about my crushed ice machine that I bought. But 500,000 is the correct answer. 500,000 is the correct answer. So by age 67, if you make 50,000 a year, so whatever you make, multiply it times 10. And this is important because I'm going to show you a way around this as well. I'm going to show you, and I've talked about it before, that the other alternatives to get to where you're going. So if they're saying you need 10 times that amount and you need $500,000, like there's more pieces to this puzzle. Okay, sneak in then. I don't mind. Continue to sneak in. Y'all sneak in and sneak out as you need to, or if you have to, cut it on YouTube. If you do need to use your phone because you want to scroll through Facebook and check out other people's lives or whatever you need to do, jump in on the YouTube channel, Coach Steele's Finance Training, and you can watch it on YouTube or you can watch it on Facebook. And so I'm multitasking. Good morning, Miss Sharonda Robinson. Hello, and how are you doing? Sharonda, I'm talking about women being prepared for retirement and how there's a disparity in America and there's a shortage because the stats say that women most likely are not prepared for retirement. And we dealt with a number of reasons why, whether it's stay-at-home moms, whether there's the divorce, whether someone passes away, whether there's a shortage and disparity in what women's pay is. We dealt with all those reasons, and we're coming up with also reasons and other ways to be creative to prepare for retirement properly. And so if you have to have 10 times the amount of your annual income by age 67, and if someone were to make $50,000 a year, then they need $500,000. They need $500,000. Here's the interesting part about that. Inflation. Inflation. I keep telling everyone, I believe inflation is actually going to get worse in the next few months. It's not going to get better. Whether it's renting, whether it's homes, whether it's your tissue, whatever it is that you got to buy from the store, food, I believe the cost is going to continue to go up. And so even though we're giving these estimates that the person may need $500,000, there's a few things that you have to think about. If you need $500,000, if you make $50,000 a year, then my only assumption is that $500,000, preach, Doc put inflation is the devil. Doc, that inflation is it's that vice versa. It'll flip on you. Anyway, that's an inside joke. And yes, it has slowly started. Inflation. Yes, Sharonda, like it's pretty bad, and it's going to continue to get worse for a number of reasons. There's a trickle-down effect, and I won't dive into much of my video yesterday about the presidential debate and the financial impact, but you can always go back and and watch that video. I'm laughing because Doc said he rebuked that demon. I know that's right. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. Because me and inflation are not friends. I do not participate. I do not join in it, but I do and create opportunities and things that fight against it. We are not on the same team. And so there's a way to use inflation to your advantage, but that's a whole nother subject. So if you have to have $500,000 because you make $50,000 a year, think about it. That means you're telling me that my $500,000, if I want to maintain the same lifestyle, because you have to think about this, 50,000 divided by 12. So that's what we're talking about. You make monthly. So 50,000 divided by 12. I have my answer. Does anyone have 50,000 divided by 12? I feel like I'm in school right now. I feel like I'm in class. And 50,000 divided by 12, 50,000 divided by 12, that's what you're expected to make monthly. So who has that number? 50,000. We're talking about a person who makes 50,000 a year. I'm having too much fun right now, y'all. Look at Mr. Reggie. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that. Okay, Sharonda up there too. Reggie, you know what, Reggie? I'm gonna give you a hug. Look at you. Anyway, you're impressing me because I didn't even know you had this in you. Whoo! I did not know. It's got to be a calculator on him. So Mr. Reggie Castile says about 4,200. I'm in trouble. He said don't start. He said about 4,200. Sharonda said about 4K. I'm with Sharonda for a number of reasons because I'm doing the taxes on that. Anitra gave the accurate answer, which is $4,166.66. So that's the accurate answer. But yes, Sharonda, once those the Uncle Sam's hit, then yeah, we're looking at about 4K, potentially less. But anyway, so 50,000. If I have $500,000 in my retirement account, logically, the math tells me in order to receive 50,000 a year without touching the base amount, here we go. And this is important for people to know. When people are setting up and preparing for retirement, what they want to do, I'm screaming in my house. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I don't care. It's my house. So what people do is you want to have a retirement. You want to have that base amount that you do not touch, but you can make and pull money, receive distributions off of the profits, the interest that it makes. So if I have $500,000 and I want to receive 50,000, what percent? Oh, I don't even know if I want to make y'all do this, but it's pretty simple. What percent does that 500,000 need to make annually for me to receive $50,000 without tapping into my 500,000? In other words, I want to make money. I want to receive distributions annually, but I don't ever want to lose my $500,000. I don't ever want to have to touch the 500,000. I just want to be able to pull from it. Mr. Doc is in the zone. 10%. That's right. That means he didn't have to tithe before. But anyway, in his opinion, yes, 10%, because 10% of 500,000 is 50,000. But my point is, most people who do have a retirement, they aren't always able to make 10% annually. And so they may have to put it in investments where it's maybe only making 7%, 6%, 8% annually, and then they draw a certain percentage from it. But I will let you know what's interesting about 401ks, and we'll dive a little bit more into the makeup of that. Those 401ks, you have to look up and see what the average person is going to pull from their 401k and distributions, the percentage annually, so it doesn't deplete, so it won't run out on you too quick. And so that's some other homework that you have to do. Are you going to pull 4% annually from it? Are you going to pull 3% annually from it, 5%? Because that 401k, once you start receiving distributions, will eventually deplete. And do you want your distributions? How fast do you want that 401k to deplete? And if it's going to deplete, it may not be able to create generational wealth because you may end up using it all. So there's nothing to pass to the next generation. So when you talk about putting this retirement amount away, you want to make sure that you put it, like I mentioned earlier, in the right financial tools. You want to use those financial weapons to your advantage and place those funds in the right place that benefit you the most. And when we talk about 10% annually, that's why Doc put S&P, the S&P 500, because it has to. Ooh, that's a big word. Statistically, I'm glad Pastor Kanye's not on here. Should have picked on me. But statistically, that S&P 500 has produced profits or returns at 10%. So that's why he mentioned it. So you want to make sure that your funds are somewhere where you know they're beneficial and profitable. Here's my other point. Everyone, depending on their age, don't be intimidated, because like I said, I'm going to bring some solutions and some resolutions. Everyone, depending on your age, if you're close to 67 and you only got $50,000 in your retirement account, Everyone can't always just create $500,000 out of the blue in the next year, in the next 2 years from their 9 to 5. And make sure I put that when I say that. Can't always do it from their 9 to 5 that they work, their job, their W-2 income. Now, if you sell slick lids and you're selling fedoras and you're selling socks and you're selling jewelry, and I forgot, there's something else I'm missing out on that you all sell. Uh, Maybe I could be wrong. It might be watches. I can't remember. But no, I don't think watches is in there. But when you are selling products, then you could potentially in the next year or 2, 3 years, whatever it is, be able to reach that stuff as an entrepreneur. But at your W-2 job, your 9 to 5, shades and watches. Okay, I wasn't wrong. I need to get some shades. Yeah, I need to get some shades so I can go live with my shades on when the sun's beaming and I'm on vacation. So, but I'll get with you about on that as well. Yeah, I'll put them shades on, do a little advertising. Yeah, you know what time it is. Okay. All right, let's work. See, let's work out. Anyway, so when you are trying to receive that money, you must know that depending on what financial vehicle your funds are, your retirement are in, they can eventually deplete. There are retirement situations where funds can deplete, and there's retirement vehicles where funds don't deplete. There are so many different options that you have no idea about. So when we get into that, keep that all in mind. And we do all of this through budgeting. And like I mentioned before, we are going on a journey because I know everyone can't put $500,000 in their retirement account immediately. Some people, these young people, you're in your 20s. Oh, that's realistic. You have plenty of time to do that and more. Some people don't make $50,000 a year. Some people make $100,000 a year. They make $100,000 a year. So do the math. 100,000 times 10. When you hit 67, you need $1 million in your retirement account. Some people think it's not realistic, it's not possible, but it is possible. There are so many creative ways besides your 401k that you can eventually have that amount of money. And so what they're trying to do is do the math on how do I get you, like Sharonda, Castile, and Anitra, all those people who answered the question, how do I make that $4,000 a month to be able to maintain myself? And I think I didn't hit a button. Y'all hold on. I don't know what I did. Let's see if I can get back to wherever I was. All right, I'm live and I hit something I shouldn't have. Let me see, remove all stickers. Okay. All right, so I'm back, y'all. I hit the wrong thing. But Doc said an important point earlier, and I don't want to skip over it. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm talking about this stuff is he said, based on, let me go back to it. Based on the new projections, Social Security reserves would be gone by 2035, 11 years from now. And we heard that conversation in the debate. Social Security reserves would be gone by year 2035. So we may not be able to depend on that. And that's one of the main reasons why we do that. I know y'all can still see me, Anitra. I hit some button, and y'all know I'm not good with technology. Samantha, what's up? I hit some button, and I don't know what happened. All kind of stuff popped up on my phone. I had to get rid of it so that I could be able to see the comments. So I do not want you all to solely be dependent on Social Security, because you may depend on something that may not be there. Or all they're going to do, what I believe is they're going to reduce the amount that they give and up the age which you can start receiving it, because they're short on funds. And so I hate to say this, but if they say, oh, you got to be 62 or 65 or 67 or 70, they know, and they're doing the math, that some people may not make it to that point. So that's less people who put into that they will actually be able to draw from, which will be able to support the other people who are still breathing and living. So you put into a fund that may not be there, you may not even be able to have access to. So it's easier to create your own situation and let Social Security be icing it on top. If you are able to get it, then great, but don't depend on it because it may not be there. We're counting on other people to manage those funds properly, and they may not be able to manage them. But if you have your own thing going on, your own business, your own entrepreneurship, you can create cash flow. And so when we talk about that, and Doc brings up a good point, that we cannot depend on Social Security. You don't even potentially know the full amount that you might actually get every single month. And that's water that they can cut on and water that they can cut off. And so that's a very, very valid point that I want to bring. So if you on average live off of $4,000 a month, you want to start thinking right now in this moment, what do I have to do? What can I create? What cash flow can I create that will bring me $4,000 a month in income? Y'all understand what I'm saying? Start thinking about what it takes for you to live every single day now. There are some things that will change later on for some people, and there's some things that won't change later on for others. Now, it may cost you $4,000 a month to pay all your expenses or whatever the case may be to live comfortably. 10 years from now, 7 years from now, some people will have paid their mortgage off. So now that extra $1,000 a month that goes to the mortgage, you may not need that. But even though that expense is gone, it doesn't mean that another expense won't replace it. So when you leave your job, your medical benefits may increase, which may take the place of that mortgage. This is so good. Because while you're doing the math, I want everyone to start doing the math now on what they need to retire comfortably later on. We're going to change the game. A lot of us are going to be extremely comfortable when it comes to retirement, because today we decided that we're going to start doing the math and figuring out what it takes to live comfortably. Sharonda said, so to understand, we should have a retirement fund outside of your job retirement. David Leonte, what's up? What's going on? David Leonte, from my understanding, he still may be in it, but he's in insurance, and he has another vehicle, financial vehicle, that I like to discuss and talk about as well. And but he's a licensed professional, so that's something that he would handle. So I'm not going to dive too deep into the insurance whole and the benefits of insurance, or the benefits of whole life insurance, or infinite banking concepts, becoming your own banker, and all the other good stuff. But that's a whole nother subject matter that, as a licensed professional, who knows, maybe one day we'll connect and I'll have him come over here and give some more details as well when it comes to things like that. In other words, using insurance while you are still living and alive and well to create and generate income for yourself as well, and other things that he does. So back to Sharonda's question. Should you have a retirement fund outside of your job? I'm not going to say you should, but for me, I would want to. I would want retirement outside of my job for a number of reasons. That's a great question. I love that question. If I have a job and I got a 401k, or I have like a TSP or 403b, all those other numbers and letters that they put together so that we can funnel money into Wall Street, and Wall Street is up and down like a roller coaster. And so our income in retirement, future money, is dependent on the success of Wall Street later on. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I like to have more than one option. And if the country goes into some type of crisis and you lose 30% of your retirement, or whatever happened back in 2020, and I wanted to step away from the game and transition my funds and do other things, I don't want to be solely dependent on that one retirement income. So Sharonda, yeah, I would open up an IRA account. I would open up a Roth IRA that, who knows, I may eventually transition to some type of self-directed IRA, or whatever the case may be, or that I still have access potentially to a certain amount of those funds. I would open up another retirement account outside of my job, but I wouldn't even limit myself to just a retirement account. What I'm talking about is everyone cannot raise the $500,000, depending on their age, by the age 67. Everyone can't get to $1 million in their 401k by age 67, or whatever it is. 10 times that amount of your annual income. So Sharonda, what I suggest is The way around that, because everyone can't, make $2 million in the next 5 years if they're 62 years old, or if they're 50 years old, they don't have income for certain things to be able to throw into those retirement accounts. And the compound interest will work to your benefit to help you get there. But what I suggest firmly is create financial opportunities that allow you to make passive income, that allow your money to multitask. And I'll give an example. I'll give a quick example. Now, with a 401k, that is money that you're going to touch later. That is money that you're going to receive later, and it's going to be income that comes in without you having to clock in. If you were to invest in real estate, and let's say you get an investment property, when you get that investment property, you'll make a profit from the rent. If you have a tenant in there, whether it's a long-term or short-term tenant, that one property may, I don't know, you may make $300 a month from it profit. You may make $500 a month profit after you pay whatever expenses you need to pay. Now, to put down on that house, you may have had to put $5,000 down on that house. You may have had to put $15,000 on that house. Regardless, it's going to bring you that $500 a month in profit every single month. Now, if you needed to make $4,000 in passive income every month, same thing with the person who has a 401k. Stay with me. The same person who has a 401k and they needed to put $500,000 in there, that way they can receive $4,000 a month in passive income for their retirement. If I create financial situations, great financial situations, if I create passive income through assets and investing properly, then I don't even have to save up $500,000 for 30 years, 20 years from a job. I don't have to keep putting money into a 401k that's going up and down like a roller coaster and hoping that I hit a point if I start investing in investment property. So if I can make $500 a month off of one property, all I have to do is do the math on how many more times it takes to duplicate that. Now, that's just with one property, a single family home. I can make $500 a month off of that. But if I get into a multifamily unit property, a fourplex, a duplex, instead of $500 a month, if it's a fourplex, that might be $2,000, $500, $500, $500, $500. So now we're talking about I'm making $2,000 a month off of the fourplex in profit, potentially, or maybe $1,000 off of a duplex. How many times do I have to duplicate that to be able to get to my $4,000 a month mark? So if I make $2,000 a month off of a fourplex, then all I have to do that is one more time, and I now have $4,000 in passive income. Now, from that fourplex, what if I had to put $20,000 down? What if I had to put $50,000 down? What if I had to get some type of funding, OPM, using other people's money to do it? My point is, worst case scenario, if I had to put $40,000 down to get that duplex and did it again, and now I have my $4,000 a month, if it took me 3 years or if it took me 5 years to do that, now I have $4,000 in passive income, and it did not take me 30 years putting into a 401k to make it happen. Think about this. If I create that situation off of multifamily unit properties or single family homes, whether it's $4,000 a month or whether it's only $3,000 a month, there's so many benefits here that I want you all to catch. One, you don't have to wait till age 67 to start enjoying that passive income. Like in a 401k, you would have to wait till 62, 67, or whatever age to enjoy the benefits from it, to receive those distributions. With that with the real estate, you can start enjoying that retirement money now, or you can actually use the investment money from the real estate to fund the retirement. So now your 9-to-5 money that you're constantly using to live off of and make ends meet, if you have passive income coming in from the real estate, take that profit, because you don't necessarily need it because you're still working, and you can use that to help contribute to your retirement account, whether it's the 401k, Sharonda, or let's say you have an outside account, whether it's a self-directed Roth IRA or whether it's a Roth IRA, individual retirement account. And so now the investments, or let's say you're selling slick lids, the investments and the profits that you make from those investments can now fund your retirements. And so if a tenant is paying you income or someone is paying you for your products, you are now funding your retirement. And I don't want to say with someone else's money, but you are funding your retirement now creatively with other cash flow besides your 9 to 5. So now you got the best of both worlds, Sharonda. Your 9 to 5 job is setting you up for success as far as retirement. So if you hit that $500,000 mark, great. And your other investments and or retirement account that you set up outside your job is also funding you as well. So it's basically being creative and setting yourself up to have multiple options instead of being limited to what the government says you should have or what financial advisors say you should do, as far as just simply depending on a 401k. We will be brainwashed into thinking that 401k is the only way. And so we have to think about these other options. So as we take this journey, and there are even there's information out there, and I would go to it. It's on my phone, but I don't want to mess up the Facebook Live. But it'll show you by age 30 have this amount, 1 times the amount. By age 40 have the 2 times the amount. It has a journey to show you as far as what to put away. But when you do the research, ladies and gentlemen, and I won't stay on here too much longer, when you do the research, people who are in retirement now, and some of these people you actually know, some of these people you have been around, their family members, their loved ones, when it comes to retirement, they say the two most expensive things that they spend money on in retirement that cost them, that pull away from that, what we've been estimating, that $4,000 mark a month, is housing and food. Retired people say the effects of inflation cost them the most and have hit them the hardest. And in those areas, it's housing and food. In other words, how much they're paying in rent or how much their mortgages cost them and how much they have to spend at the grocery store. So one of the things I talked about earlier with Doc is how I fight against inflation and I do certain things that benefit me. So one thing I do is I grow my own food, and in a couple of days I'll put out this video. I made a salmon soup about 3 days ago, and I had my own onions in my backyard, my basil, my peppers, and a few other things that I put in the soup, a little okra in there. It was phenomenal in this salmon soup. I had some potatoes in there as well. And many people don't know this, but you can grow potatoes in a container. You don't even have to put them in the ground. You can grow peppers in a container. You don't even need a big one. But anyway, I didn't have to go to the store for so many of those items because I grow them in my backyard. So I do not have to visit Walmart for certain things. So to help me fight against inflation, I grow some of my own vegetables. Another thing, when we talk about housing and food, it is possible to have a mortgage and pay it off in potentially 5 to 7 years. If you need more information about that, get with me. I'll connect you with a program that teaches you how to pay your mortgage off in 5 to 7 years. Potentially, when they did my original projections, I ended up paying my mortgage off. They told me it would take about 5.5 years. And I ended up paying my mortgage off in 3 years and 7 months. Yes, a 30-year mortgage. Well, of course, you know, they usually try to make you pay for your mortgage at least twice because it's a 30-year amortized loan. Look that up. Look up what an amortized loan is. A 30-year amortized loan. I learned the system to be able to pay my mortgage off fast and effectively, save thousands of dollars in interest, and now that cash flow is back into my control. But anyway, I'm bringing those two things up about the garden and the mortgage is because and we have to learn from those that come before us, right? If the people who are already in retirement right now are saying that housing and food are the most expensive things that take away from their check, then we have to use wisdom. What can we do to set it up in a situation where housing and food don't take away from our retirement checks or that our income we have coming in during that time? So once again, I'm giving you the answers to the test today. What I'm telling you is we have to take action and we have to start doing things that are going to benefit us 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, create situations. All of us cannot, randomly make $500,000 pop up, but we can create opportunities and situations to decrease our expenses monthly, and we can create opportunities and create assets that bring in money every month. And that example I gave with the real estate, it doesn't allow you to necessarily raise $1 million or $500,000 in a savings account, but those investment properties will bring in cash flow every single month that will help you maintain your lifestyle. And while you have those investment properties, guess what? The value of the houses continue to increase in value. The tenants, short-term or long-term tenants, are paying down that mortgage balance while you enjoy your lifestyle. Or if you're younger, you can take that money and reinvest it in other things as well. And so one of the things I want you all to understand is you can have goals to live comfortably. You can have goals to live comfortably. You can reach the potentials and all those different things that you want to reach. So when you think about retirement, people that are tuning in and listening, what are some of the things that you want to do? When you think about retirement, and like I said, for some people, retirement, they may still want to continue to work on the job that they have. For other people, they want to travel. Some people want to go on vacation. Some people want to volunteer. Some people want to do missions work. Some people want to visit family that they haven't seen. Some people want to donate to worthy causes. When you think about retirement and enjoying a life without necessarily having to be required to clock into a 9 to 5, for some of the people that are tuning in, what does retirement look like for you? What are some of the things that you want to accomplish? I want to see it in the comment section. What are some of the things you want to be able to do while you retirement? What does retirement look like for you? I see Sharonda put more info on the mortgage. I'll definitely send you that information as well. What are some of the things that you think and you believe retirement looks like for you? It's possible to enjoy life and help out others. For me, I love to enjoy life. I love to spend time with family. I definitely want to travel, not only travel, but I do want to continue to support the people that I support in Cameroon and helping them out as far as ministry and things like that. What are some of the things? Anitra put travel, entrepreneurship, volunteer, and budgeting is so important because it is the foundation. It is the backbone of a lot of what we're talking about today that sets you up for success to be able to do that. That sets you up for success to be able to do a lot of these things. Anybody else? What does retirement look like for you? What are some of the things you would love to be able to do? For people who drive trucks, you never know. You may want to eventually buy other trucks and have other people driving the trucks, and you just manage them. It's almost like, if you have a trucking company, it is very, very similar to real estate. And so it's very, very similar to real estate. And so, Cheryl, why you say, oh no? So, and I'll tell you why. Well, welcome back, Doc. Doc, I was asking everybody, what does retirement look like for them? What are some of the things you want to do in retirement? And retirement looks different for everybody. But Cheryl, and it's tough for me to say this because I've never owned a truck, but I'm going to say this anyway. Trucking is very similar to real estate, and you hit on the head why it is. If you own a truck, or let's say you own multiple trucks, you're going to have, in a sense, like real estate, I have investment properties, you're going to have tenants in those properties. And I'm going to have tenants in my properties. You're going to have drivers in your truck. And they're going to pay you whatever it is monthly to use that truck. You're going to earn a certain profit as they drive that truck. Now, yes, it is a lot to deal with. There are headaches, right? Well, guess what? Think about collecting rent from tenants every single month. You think there's headaches that come with that? And accidents happen. we're talking about plumbing issues, we're talking about AC issues, we're talking about structural issues, we're talking about roofing, the roof. The list goes on of different things that can happen for a house. Cheryl says she would rather collect rent. Well, if you put somebody in a truck, you're going to collect rent, you're going to make money. But think about it. All the issues that can go wrong with the house and all the issues that can go wrong with the truck. And, it is interesting, Cheryl, because with the truck, if, the engine goes bad, now it's not even drivable. Like that's a wrap. Like now we got to get a whole nother truck. It's down. It can't make any money that day. If the plumbing is bad, I can call a plumber. Usually they can get there the same day, sometimes the next day, but the house to a certain degree is still livable. And so, whether it's AC or a light goes out or things like that, smaller things. So there are some differences, but there are definitely a lot of similarities where you can collect money monthly. And so all of us, we have to look into that stuff. And Cheryl said her truck is down right now. So yeah, if that truck is down, transmission, my goodness. Once again, entrepreneurship and budgeting, like it's like when you're an entrepreneur, you're self-employed, it is so important that you always have funds and things set to the side. And Cheryl, one thing that I have to do with my investment properties, I keep certain, you have to have, like in your case, you could have good mechanics and people who can be prompt and on time. And I don't want to get off subject here, but even with investment properties, I have to have a good plumber. I have to have a good AC guy, a good repair guy, and I have to keep them, like, you have to have people that are reliable and that can get there in a moment's notice to fix something. And what's interesting about that is if I own multiple trucks, then I would see myself as eventually creating like, I don't know what to call it, like a repair company or something like that. Same thing, if I continue to grow my real estate portfolio, I would have my own repair company, plumbing company, or whatever it is, AC company, because I'm bringing in so much business that I might as well make the business. So anyway, as we come to a close, think about what retirement looks like for you all. What would be your retirement goals? And get yourself to a place that you make those goals realistic and that we take action. We take the necessary action. We talked about the gentleman named Ted Benner, who invented the 401k. So the man named Ted Benner, who invented the 401k, his sole mindset when it comes to it, and I'm going to do a separate video about the 401k and the creator of the 401k. His sole mindset was that the 401k was going to be a supplement. It was going to be something that helped people to be able to retire, but it wasn't going to be the sole and only thing that people would use in retirement to be able to retire comfortably. And so you must understand that he never intended for the 401k to be the sole thing that people depend on. Doc, my YouTube is Coach Steele Finance Training, Coach Steele's Finance Training. And on Facebook, maybe a post I made from yesterday or the day before, it has the Facebook link, the YouTube link in there to my channel. So definitely subscribe. But Coach Steele's Finance Training. So when you do the research, you find out that Ted says basically in so many words that with the 401k, like, created a monster, and it has become something that he never intended it for it to be. What it is now, he never intended for it to be that, and that people should not solely depend on that 401k. It is connected to the market, to Wall Street. And so create other opportunities and other investment opportunities to make more money to help you prepare for retirement. 401k is good, but do not solely depend on it. And so I'm going to deal a little bit more about retirement. I'm going to deal with the origins of the 401k and what it has become now and why they switched it and connected it to the stock market. When you do your homework and you look up this stuff and then you see how they change certain tax laws and benefits. And when you take people's retirement money and you put it into the hands of all of these Fortune 500 companies, all these big companies, and now they can use that money to build their business, Big business gets bigger off of our retirement money. Big business gets bigger and they grow faster off of what we contribute monthly from our jobs. They blow up, and then, yes, we get a small percentage of it, and our retirement accounts slowly grow, but they definitely benefit. So that's fine. Let them benefit, but you need to create your own company as well. You need to create your own business that can blow up as well so that you can get the total benefits and profit from it as well. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I went a little bit longer than usual. Normally I go for about an hour, but y'all was a little turned up today, so I was excited and went right along with you all. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Like I said, feel free to comment on other things that you want to discuss, other things you want to talk about. And of course, if it's in my wheelhouse, I will deal with it and talk about it so that we can learn and educate ourselves. Like I said, I enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, comment, share this Facebook, share it on YouTube, especially women. I'm telling you, and I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to get on y'all last nerve because I'm tired of my sisters not being prepared for retirement, and we have to we have to start doing certain things to prepare ourselves. And who knows, maybe I get Doc in here one day to talk about slick lids and some of that other stuff. I think that'll be exciting. He ain't got no sense, just like me, so I know we'll have a good time. No problem, Sharonda. We always family for life. Thank you for the informative information. So I'm using all those big long words, mess around to trip me up. And so Anitra just put in the YouTube channel. And like I said, we're going to continue to deal with this, and we're going to get our ladies, our women set up for success. And that way you will be empowered no matter what job you go to, no matter relationship you deal with. You got to take a stand. Yeah. We can't use that for that. I'm putting this in my retirement account. Or set up a retirement account. You don't have to let everybody know your business. But all I'm saying is you need to set something up for yourself so that you can be comfortable, ladies. The stats say y'all aren't going to have y'all stuff together. The stats say that you aren't going to be prepared. The stats say when you get older, you're financially going to be struggling. And it doesn't need to be that way. It costs too much for y'all to get your hair done. So therefore, you cannot afford not to have your money right as you get older. Anyway, and your nails done and everything else. I definitely enjoy y'all tuning in. We had an amazing time this morning, and I look forward to every Saturday morning. I'm going to be on Facebook Live and YouTube creating content and making videos to help people out so that we continue to grow. And shout out to Cheryl, y'all. Listen to me. Cheryl tuned in a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, and she set up her Roth IRA account. Yes, we were talking about high yield interest savings accounts, and we were talking about setting up your Roth IRAs. I'm telling you, my goal is to shift the mindset of women, and especially minority women who don't have retirement accounts, that are not prepared for retirement. We're going to shift those numbers. Years ago, about 5 years ago, it was like only 10% of women were prepared for retirement. I think it changed slightly. It might be like maybe 20, 25% now, but we're going to shift that thinking and shift that mindset. Doc says, live like no one today so that you can live like no one tomorrow. Very similar to that Dave Ramsey quote. Yes, you have to live like no one else so that you can live like no one else. But Cheryl, she set up her individual retirement account, her Roth IRA. So she is on the right track. That vehicle is down. But Cheryl, you need to let us know when that vehicle is back up and running and we got that cash flow going again so that you can start off with whatever you need to, $10 a month, $25 a month. Start putting money in that retirement account, Cheryl, and start building it up. I'm going to do little videos to show you the benefits of dividends, stocks that give dividends. So I'll make a video about that, and I'll show like some of the investments that I make and things like that. I know Cheryl did not say it won't be next week, or did she say it will? Okay, she said it will be next week. I was about to say, I know she did not speak negative in that situation, but anyway, we good. And she opened up a brokerage account. Look out now. Let me hold something. Anyway, I'm excited for everybody, and continue to tune in. And you all have a blessed Saturday. Have a blessed day. And I look forward to our next conversation about financial literacy. Ladies, go get your friends and have them jump in and tune in. We tell them we are on a movement. We're getting ready to shift this thing. Ooh, I feel it. We're getting ready to shift this thing. Women about to be about their business if you're not already. All right, y'all have a blessed day. I'm getting off this live and I'm going to go mind my business. Be blessed.